You are not tired. Your brain is overstimulated, and it's quietly changing how you think, feel, and focus every single day. At first, it feels normal. You wake up and reach for your phone. Notifications, short videos, headlines, messages. Tiny hits of novelty before your feet even touch the floor. It doesn't feel extreme. It feels standard. But your nervous system does not treat it as neutral. It treats it as reward. And reward, repeated often enough, rewires you. The problem is not that you enjoy stimulation. The human brain is built to seek it. The problem is the volume and speed. Modern inputs are faster, brighter, louder, and more frequent than anything your biology evolved to handle. Every scroll is a maybe. Every refresh is a surprise. That uncertainty is powerful. It drives dopamine release, not because something is meaningful, but because something might be. Over time, your baseline shifts. This is the part most people never see. Dopamine is not just about pleasure. It regulates motivation, anticipation, and effort. When you constantly spike it with rapid novelty, your brain adapts. It reduces sensitivity. What once felt engaging now feels flat. What once required moderate effort now feels exhausting. The world did not become more boring. Your threshold changed. This is why silence feels uncomfortable. Why reading a book for 10 minutes feels harder than watching 20 short clips. Why conversations drift when there is no constant stimulation. It is not weakness. It is adaptation. Your brain is conserving energy for what it has learned delivers the fastest reward. The consequence is subtle but serious. Focus weakens first. Not because you cannot concentrate, but because sustained attention produces less immediate reward than quick novelty. Deep work feels slow. Slow feels dull. Dull feels painful. So you switch tasks. Check your phone. Open another tab. Each switch gives a small spike. Each spike reinforces the loop. Then motivation drops. Tasks that require effort without instant payoff start to feel heavier than they should. You delay them. Not because you lack ambition, but because your reward system is calibrated to expect speed. Long-term goals cannot compete with instant feedback. And when effort feels harder, self-judgment increases. You assume the problem is discipline. It rarely is. There is also a physical layer. Chronic overstimulation keeps your nervous system slightly activated. Not in panic, but in low-grade alertness. Your brain is scanning for the next input, the next signal, the next update. True rest becomes rare because rest now lacks stimulation. Without stimulation, your brain interprets the state as under-rewarded. That is why doing nothing feels strangely uncomfortable. You may notice this most when trying to relax. You sit down to rest, but within minutes you reach for something. Music, video, messages, even background noise. Silence feels empty. The emptiness is not the problem. The recalibrated baseline is. What makes this dangerous is that it hides behind productivity. You can feel busy all day and accomplish very little meaningful work. Switching tasks creates the illusion of action. Constant input creates the illusion of learning. But deep understanding requires sustained attention. And sustained attention now competes with an environment engineered to fracture it. The attention economy does not need you addicted. It only needs you slightly distracted. Slight distraction, repeated daily, compounds. 10 seconds here, 30 seconds there. Over months, your tolerance for slow reward shrinks. Your threshold for boredom lowers. Boredom itself becomes intolerable. Yet boredom is not an enemy. It is a reset signal. When the brain is not flooded with novelty, it begins to stabilize. Dopamine levels normalize. Sensitivity gradually returns. Motivation becomes less dependent on constant spikes. But this stabilization feels uncomfortable at first. When stimulation drops, baseline dopamine feels lower temporarily. You may feel flat, restless, even irritable. Many people mistake this for proof that they need more stimulation. It is actually a sign that recalibration has begun. This explains why extreme detox attempts often fail. People remove all stimulation at once, feel the temporary drop, and assume something is wrong. The brain does not need punishment. It needs gradual normalization, reducing constant novelty, increasing single-task focus, allowing periods of low input without panic. Small structural changes matter more than dramatic ones. Delaying your first screen exposure in the morning, working in time blocks without switching tabs, taking walks without headphones, eating without scrolling. These are not moral acts. They are neurological resets. They signal to the brain that reward does not only come from rapid novelty. As baseline sensitivity improves, something interesting happens. Simple activities feel richer again. Reading becomes easier. Conversations feel deeper. Creative thinking improves because the mind is no longer fragmented by constant micro-interruptions. Energy stabilizes, not because you added something, but because you remove excess noise. There is also a psychological shift. When your attention is less scattered, your sense of agency increases. You choose what to focus on instead of reacting to whatever appears. Reaction mode feels urgent but shallow. Deliberate focus feels slower but powerful. And power, sustained over time, builds competence. None of this requires abandoning technology or living in isolation. The goal is not elimination. It is regulation. Your brain is adaptive. It will respond to the environment you repeatedly provide. If that environment is fragmented and high frequency, your mind becomes fragmented. If it is structured and intentional, your focus strengthens. The deeper truth is simple. Overstimulation does not destroy intelligence. It reduces signal clarity. When everything is loud, nothing stands out. When reward is constant, effort feels optional. When novelty is endless, depth feels unnecessary. But depth is where growth happens. If you have felt less focused, less motivated, or more restless than you used to, not start with self-criticism. Start with environment. Examine the inputs. Notice the frequency. Track how often you switch tasks. Awareness alone reduces automatic behavior. Your brain is not broken. It is adapting exactly as designed. The question is what you are training it to expect. Fast reward or sustained meaning. Fragmented input or structured depth. Constant stimulation or controlled exposure. When you understand this mechanism, you regain leverage. Focus is not a personality trait. It is a trained state. And overstimulation is not a permanent condition. It is a pattern. Patterns can change. The world will not slow down for you. But you can slow the inputs you allow in. And when you do, something quiet but powerful returns. Clarity. Not dramatic. Not flashy. Just steady. And steady focus, repeated daily, rebuilds everything that overstimulation slowly eroded.